Hey guys, Automotive Inquiries here. Shooting a cool video real quick, bittersweet video. A lot of guys, when we were talking about the Godzilla and everything like that, a lot of it came out like, oh, you just love your Fords and you don't know nothing. Listen, man, I've owned them all. I can say that I've had a diesel that's been made by the big three since 1988. So people crapped on the 6.2, the 6.5, the 5.9, non-intercooled turbo, the 5.9, the 6.7, the first generation 6.7 Blue Tech, on and on and on, and all the other 6.9 Ford 7.3s and whatnot. But this one I was hoping my dad would feel well enough to come out with me today and help shoot, but he was a little weak and wasn't up to coming out and shooting it with me. But all of those that came out and said, well, you just don't know Chevys. Well, I've had enough Duramaxes in my time, and I had pre-Duramaxes and everything like that. And you know, having an 03 Duramax, you know, where they started at, you know, basically 235 horsepower and 500 pounds of torque, and that was back when it just had the 5-speed Allison. It had no exhaust brake. It is a really great motor. And then we fast forward a few years and it starts bumping up power. Really my favorite version of the Duramax. And I had the L5P in my 21. Great motor, but I was not happy with how the exhaust braking worked and grade braking worked and everything like that. And it really reminisced to my dad's truck. My favorite version of the Duramax is the LML. It ran for quite a while, pumping out 397 horsepower and 765 pounds of torque. And really, this truck really did all of it. My parents have a really gigantic fifth wheel. And just the way the 6-speed works with this motor, and you know, the grade braking, the cruise braking, everything like that just worked so well that, you know, at the end of the day, this was my favorite version, and it had two different interiors. This is the more upscale one, being a GMC of the SLT package. It had this lower dash, and some of the other ones had a more round dash. Mine had the same interior as this one right here. And you know, I gotta admit that in all reality, these motors have way more than what you need, and I can respect that and appreciate it. And you know, my dad put this thing to work. I mean, you know, it's in pretty good shape for 66,000 miles. It's been flawless, hasn't had any issues whatsoever. Right out the gate, the reason why they got this truck was my dad's 1996 GMC with the 6.5 diesel. Those were prone to overheating because they had a plastic and aluminum radiator, and it basically overheated, kept overheating. Trailer was a little bit much for that truck, but in those areas that truck wasn't even rated for the weight that we were pulling with the fifth wheel. And basically, long story short of it died. They got towed back to a GMC dealership where they could diagnose it. They basically didn't even really have a tech to work on that motor at that time in 2011. That's what year this is. And didn't even have a tech. So they basically said, sorry, you're going to outsource this, get a new motor, do whatever. And my parents decided that they had this one on the ground there, and red just happened to be one of my dad's favorite colors. And so basically they pulled the trigger on it, and within a day or so they got the hitch put in it, and they were up the mountain with their big old heavy trailer. And for being pulling without even breaking in, I mean, this truck has really just done really well. And here we are, we fast forward about, you know, 10-12 years, and the truck runs really good. And this version, the LML, let me buckle this thing, the LML really is the perfect mix because it's got tons of power. Exhaust brake is really good. And I'm not saying that this version didn't have its issues, you know, the dash is cracking and stuff like that. But powertrain wise, the LML really was a good mix with the 6-speed. And I think that's very robust when it comes to the exhaust brake. You know, you still have to, it doesn't tell you what gear it's in, and that was one of my things where I think Ram and Chevy could have done better in these newer vehicles, is let me know what gear I'm in, because I'm a truck driver, I want to know. This one, it's so robust, you put it on tow haul mode, turn the exhaust brake on, and this thing, so that I let off the accelerator, it kicks in the exhaust brake. You know, I put on tow haul, see how the RPMs jump up and grab. Well, the L5P does not do that. You can have it in tow haul mode, it does not do that. You have to really dig into the brakes. And, you know, I gotta, you know, honestly say that I grew up Chevy. And once they came out with new body style Ram in 1994, I just loved them. I was a kid at that time, and I was like, man, I love it. I switched to Ram, and I love Ram, but I never gave up on these. I love vehicles. I love driving. I love, what makes them tick. And this power plant on this truck is more than enough what people need. I mean, because really you need power, but you also need the ability to slow and drive safely and not burn up your brakes and not hurt your transmission. And people will say, well, the Allison's not as good as the torque shift. I believe in some respects that's true. The early version of the torque shift needed to be, beefed up and worked through, but I think they make a really good transmission. The Allison is just smooth. The Allison transmission or similar versions of this transmission are in Class B semis. They're in bigger, medium duty trucks, out there and stuff like that. So, it's fantastic. And back in 2000 and I think it was 14, I broke down on the way to Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and I was in my Ram. It only had about 8,000 miles on it with the ASIN. The ASIN was done. It was baked. And I get picked up in a Ford tow truck, and I climbed in and said, well, this is a sad day, my Ram's being pulled by a Ford. He goes, no, Ford body, Cummins diesel with an Allison transmission. And, so you can see that every manufacturer, every bodybuilder, everything when it comes to the actual manufacturing of the vehicles, they try and put the best thing together. I think that's what people do here. But I really enjoyed the LML. My 12 LML was excellent. Again, it's still had EPA emissions crap on it, which really sucked. But it needed to regen. Still, this truck's not built to idle and commute short distances. It needs to work, and that's why I think it's been flawless. That's why my 6.4 was flawless. That's why the 6 liter was flawless. That they spent their time towing, and that's really what a diesel's for. Now, if you're going to drive most of the time and not pull most of the time, I think the gas makes a compelling argument in doing so. And, when people are like, well, I wouldn't do this, well, you got to do what works for you. And if you're a diesel fan, I'm a huge diesel fan. I've owned them all, but I also like giving other things a shot. I'm not so closed-minded that I'm going to say, well, I'm not buying a gas because I got to have diesel and it's the only thing that'll work. Well, not necessarily, but I do drive a lot more than I do pull, and so the gas motor makes a very compelling argument because I don't want to clog this up. I don't want to cause problems from my diesel, all right? And when I was selling vehicles a few years ago and selling the later LMLs, the 15s, 16s, 17s, 18s, really, they people were idling them too much. They were having issues and whatnot. And, so I enjoyed this version because it wasn't as powerful as those other versions of the LML. But that was the nice mix because it didn't have as many issues with, clogging up the DPF and everything like that. And I really think the interior is nice of this truck. I like the body style. It's big and it's chunky, and but still has a classy look to it. And it's a sad day. I needed to get this out for my pops. Like I said, he's just unfortunately just in a position where he can't get out anymore and he can't drive anymore. And he loves his truck, and I would love to have had him with me today. Sorry. But, this video will be some, pay some homage to him. And it'll be part of my history with YouTube, so that way, always just remember a day when my dad was still here. And we're just out taking a cruise in a great version of the GMC diesel truck. And so if you guys have any questions, I do have a lot of history with this motor, and know this vehicle's not for sale. I just hope this enjoys some videos that just kind of squashes some of the naysayers who think I just hate diesels. I do not hate diesels. People that think I don't know diesels or don't appreciate diesels, there are. My oldest son is a diesel mechanic, and he loves diesels, but he also knows some of the limitations with the EPA stuff where we don't delete stuff. That's against the law, and we're required to have emissions. We don't do that. I don't recommend that on my site or on my YouTube channel, but I just want to appreciate you guys for being here and subscribing. Please do subscribe, and just for being part of my journey with YouTube and my channel. And I want to wanted to just show you guys what we got out here. So we'll see you guys soon.